What is up, people? Hello and welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another match preview here on the Cup Chasers. That's right. Brentford up next for the Arsenal. Brentford flying high. Brentford with Igor Thiago second on the goal scoring lists for the Golden Boot. Keith Andrews, set piece coach. Nobody expected anything, but look what they're doing, flying high up in seventh place. What a absolutely fantastic season for the Bees this year, of course. Yo, what's up, Snap Meme? Thanks for being here, of course, every single time. I appreciate you. Today we're going to look at the Brentford game, of course, but the news of the day. Why don't we start with it? Thomas Frank, choo-choo blood, is gone. Sacked. Of course, that will be spoken about this evening on the Cup Chasers podcast tonight. Of course, so make sure everybody's got that notification bell on so you know when we're going live. Of course, that will be later on this evening, but today, right now, the focus is on the Bees for tomorrow, and this is not going to be a comfortable away day. Of course, Brentford are flying high right now, full of confidence, and they're going to make Arsenal work for every single yard. If the Gunners want this win, it's going to take everything we got. It's going to take grit. It's going to take winning the second balls and a serious work rate. Brentford is certainly going to have something for us. It's one of those games we're going to have to survive their pressure. We're going to have to survive their type of game. And with the stakes this high, Arsenal absolutely have to have it. Yes, sir, Snap Meme United threw it away. And now homie has to wait another long time for the haircut. Snap Meme, who's going to replace Thomas Frank? It's looking like De Zerbi. But it's a thankless job because your first game is going to be against us, against Arsenal. It's crazy, though. I'm not even thinking about that because we have Brentford, we have Wigan, and we have Wolves. We got 3 games before the North London derby, and one of them, of course, is at the Brentford, I think it's a G-Tech Stadium tomorrow night. It's going to be very tough. The problem with who's going to be a perfect match for Spurs is the fact that a lot of people have looked good going into Spurs. A lot of people have looked good, and then it's just been a disaster because their board is absolutely horrendous. Thomas Frank looked like a perfect match for Spurs. He wasn't. Yeah. New manager bounce. Yeah, like a dead cat. Yeah, I'm not worried at all about Tottenham, of course. Like I say, I've got other things on my mind before we get there. We unequivocally cannot overlook Brentford. 7th place, flying. They are level, almost completely level with Liverpool as far as their record. They've got 1 less goal scored and 1 less goal conceded, Brentford. So they're almost identical to, Liverpool's. Yes, Snap Meme, I agree that the impending North London derby is why Frank lost it now, why the timing was now. And Brentford are very dangerous. Igor Thiago has 17 goals this season. Only the Nordic Meat Shield has more. And I've done the watch along for the last 2 games. For the Brentford, where Kevin Schade got the red card and then they beat Villa. Yeah. If the referees would have gotten it right, in my opinion, at the end of the City-Liverpool game, Brentford would be ahead of them. Absolutely, man. I did the Newcastle game as well for Brentford, and while their tactics are straightforward, they're very good at what they do. And that was a fantastic game. Fantastic advert for the Premier League. Both of those games, actually, where Brentford sat in and were able to beat Villa down a man. And then they gave Newcastle as good as they got and ended up going. That game was back and forth, back and forth. And as any good game at St. James's Park is, and then Brentford with the dagger at the very end of the game. What a game that was, yo. And so I'm very much looking forward to tomorrow's match versus the Bees. It's going to be very, very tough, but the tactics and the ideas, what is going to happen for me is probably going to be very straightforward. I think this game lends itself tactically very much so to the way Arsenal play, to the way we like to control games. But it's all going to come down, and I know I harp on it. I know I say it a whole lot, but it's going to come down. This one, 100% is going to come down to who wins second balls in the middle of the park. Our press is elite. Our press is very, very good at making teams hit it long. That's the bread and butter of what Arsenal do. That's the bread and butter of what Mikel Arteta designs our press against the ball to do, is to make the goalkeeper hit it long. And Brentford are going to have no problem doing that. They're going to have no issues doing that. They're immediately going to look for Igor Thiago. Have you guys seen a close-up of this dude? He's humongous. He's absolutely huge. And just like Brian Brobby and Sunderland had no issues trying to battle with William Saliba, Igor Thiago is going to be the same type of forward. He's crazy, man. Absolutely. He's going to be the same type of battle. He's gonna jostle, he's gonna harry, he's gonna elbow people, he's gonna push Gabriel, he's gonna punch Saliba, like he's gonna fight those two hard. Just like he gave It's gonna be if Thiago decides to pick Zubi up by the shoulders, Adama Traore on Cucurella style, Zubi will be out the stadium. He'll be flying out the stadium, man. Yeah, Thiago is humongous, and he's going to give Saliba and Gabriel a game. I guarantee it. Calling it now. That's going to be the main battle of the game, because the way Brentford design their attack when they do hit it long is very smart. It's very smart. A lot of these teams that knock it long don't necessarily get the second man close to their target man. And Brentford, over the years, over the seasons, since that very first game, thank you, Ivan Toney, that I won't ever forget. Thank you for that. Brentford's first game back in the Premier League. Yeah, I'm not going to forget that one, but I did like Ivan Toney. But anyway, even back then, their strategy was the same. Target Ivan Toney, and Bumo was underneath him. Very close to him, winning second balls, winning high balls, and being able to attack in transition. Ivan Toney goes, all right, sure. Bumo's the furthest man forward, and Yoann Wissa is in behind him to collect the second balls. Now it's Matthias Jensen or Janelt. Janelt was the furthest man forward in Newcastle. And they get their midfielders very close to Thiago when they hit it long. And he wins, like, he won like 50% of the headers. 50% of the first balls. Brentford, for me, are possibly the most surprising team this season. Because like a lot of people, when they lost Bumo, when they lost Choo Choo Blood, I thought they were going to struggle mightily, like a whole bunch. But I mean, they've stepped up. The main guys have stepped up. Mikkel Damsgaard will certainly be one to watch out for. His passing ability is very, very good. So too, Matthias Jensen. It'll be interesting to see who starts in the middle of the park. But Declan Rice and Martin Zubimendi will have their hands full. We have to win the second balls. Unequivocally cannot let Brentford win knockdowns. when we have the ball, yeah, I think when we win possession, there will be phases where Brentford will be deep, where Brentford will defend deep. I do think so, Snap Meme. There will be phases of play where they defend deep. Yeah, absolutely, Prague. With Bumo gone, and even now with Wissa gone, with Johan Wissa, gone as well. It's just the next man up. It's just the next man up. I actually learned yesterday that Igor Thiago was supposed to replace Tony, was supposed to be the Ivan Toney replacement, and he was still there. Ivan Toney was still at Brentford when Igor Thiago came in. He just got injured, took like a season-long injury. Absolutely, Snap Meme. This is what we have to look out for. This right here, long balls into Thiago, is what we absolutely have to look out for. And it's going to come down to who wins those second 50-50 ball situations. Matthias Jensen, as I said, and Mikkel Damsgaard, I think it's Jacoby Janelt. Those three guys, whoever's going to be underneath Thiago, that's where the battle's going to be. That's where the real battle's going to be. With Zubamendi and Declan Rice in there, we have to win those second balls. So it'll be very, very interesting to see who Arteta goes with as the third midfielder. In my opinion, it should be Kai Havertz at this point, because he is going to be another one who he plays quickly when we win the ball high up in transition. That's going to be very, very important, because as Snap Meme said, if they get in their low block shape, we struggle. We can struggle. And so we absolutely have to not let them get in that shape. We have to play quick when we win the second balls. That's what they do. When they win the second balls, they play quickly. So we have to do the very same thing when we win it after they hit it long, so they're not set in their defense. It's the same thing that I've been saying that we had to do against Sunderland. It's the same thing, and that's one thing that I'm very, very excited about this season. And it makes me confident for this game. When Arsenal get corners, and if they miss, then a long ball to Thiago, that's a good chance for Brentford. Absolutely. When we're pressed up high and they play quick, Thiago is going to have opportunities, and they get runners beyond him. It's tough. It's tough to defend against, and that's why the Newcastle game was basketball. It was back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, because every time either team won the 50-50 ball, they both played very quickly forward, and that's what Brentford are going to do. Yeah, it could be. The corners in the match could be a double-edged sword, because it's going to leave space. Absolutely, Snap Meme. It's going to leave space. But on corner kicks, I expect Thiago won't be the guy forward. He's too tall. He's too big. He'll be defending in the box on the corners. So, yeah, I think Kevin Schade might be back for this one. Or did he get a 3-match ban? I think he got a 3-match ban, actually, for the red card versus Villa, so he won't be back in this one, I don't think. But it'll depend on who they leave forward, which speedster they leave up there to try to counter after their space, after we're so far pushed up. Prague says Mateta is leaving. Yeah, I'm interested in that saga. It's been going on for a while now. Mateta wasn't even in the team versus last time out for Palace, and they are playing Burnley today, a must-win game. Palace is, so we'll see if he's in the lineup again today. It'll be interesting to see the position, Snap Meme, that Thiago takes up on our corners. It'll be very, very interesting to see, because if they do leave him up, if they do decide to gamble and not have one of their tallest dudes, and they do leave him forward, I mean, even if we see something like Chelsea tried to do with the corners and leave him forward, we're definitely going to have to account for that. Thiago is definitely the danger man as far as getting on the end of the goals for Brentford, knocking down the first long balls for Brentford. He's definitely the guy we're going to have to look out for. But I think this game is going to be won in the middle of the park. And one thing that I'm very, very happy about, one thing that's helped me kind of move over the line of I believe we're going to win the league this season, is our consistency. If you notice, I've been in the back of my mind having to say, oh man, you're repeating yourself. You're repeating yourself. You're repeating yourself. Yeah. And you know why? That's because Arsenal are so consistent. And we're doing the same things. You can see us doing the same things. What we do against Leeds, we made them hit it long. What we do against Sunderland, we made them hit the ball long and we won the second balls. And so if we do the same thing, because that's what we make low block teams do. Teams that try to defend against us in a low block, they have to defend for so long and so long and so long. They get tired. And then having to try to pass through us to work through the lines and pass through us is so tiring. And so it's just sometimes easier for teams that play against us to take the territory with a long ball and get their defense from being inside of their own goal, and so we face a lot of long balls, Snap says Arsenal are consistent because of corners, because most teams lose their win streak against low block teams. Hard to score, but Arsenal score from corners against low blocks and the game's over. Honestly, Snap Meme, I think you're 100% spot on there with that, because Arteta probably recognized once we started facing low blocks over and over and over and over and over again. Like, why did we blitz? Why did we blitz teams 3 years ago in 22-23? Nobody's playing a low block. Nobody respected us at that point. And so we massacred teams. But then the next season, teams started getting lower. Teams started getting lower blocks, lower blocks, lower blocks. And we found it a little bit tough. And then last season, it was low block city. It was just everyone. And now even this season, even the big teams are starting to play very defensive against us, Yeah, I hear it's now. It can happen. It can happen where you're flying high and somebody just happens to have something for you. I think with the West Ham United game and Manchester United game yesterday, the manager bounce is gone. The new manager bounce exists because the team changes, and what the team has been doing that people have worked out, that opposing managers have worked out, and now it's tough for the team to adapt and change up what they're doing because you've been doing the same thing for so long and teams have worked you out. But then Carrick comes in and it's 4 games in a row, and it took maybe 5 games for somebody to work him out, and Nuno worked out what his team could do because he's got 4 games of evidence now of what Carrick is going to do, right? And so I think that, that's kind of why there's a blueprint for the way Arsenal play against us, or the way people play against Arsenal, is because you can see what we're going to do. And so it's a different thing stopping it, of course, but that's kind of, that's kind of how that happens, and I think that could be something. But see, the thing with Keith Andrews is he didn't really change much. And he's still having success. Maybe teams aren't taking Brentford seriously. I definitely hope we do. I'm not sure. Frog says, let's hope Gyökeres starts, unlike last time when Jesus was not able to convert. Yeah, ton of data. Not as much data for the new managers. Absolutely, Snap. This one here, Prague. Jesus did have a stinker versus Sunderland, and it's this one's very, very interesting for me. I'm a huge Gyökeres fan, and yes, I think he should start, but there is something to be said for the fact that if you look at that Sunderland game, Jesus did run his socks off, and he did make the likes of Renildo work because he was getting wide. That Alderete had to work hard. Dan Ballard had to work really, really hard, chasing Jesus all over the place. Yeah. And then when Gyökeres came in, they just couldn't handle him. They just couldn't handle the pace, the power. They were too tired. So there is something to be said for Jesus running around and making and tiring people out. And then we bring on Gyökeres, who's devastating. But for me, Gyökeres should start from the start. I agree with that, of course. Sanjeev says, I know Brentford, it will be different now. This is the match. Arteta's going to bottle it, he says. It's going to be tough. It's a very, very tough match for sure. And I don't think we should be overlooking this one at all. There at times, Brentford do put the ball down and play. And when they do, they can look really, really good. But it's normally when they win the second ball and they have runners beyond Thiago, like the wingers. I think Lewis Potter will probably play if Shada's still not in. Not too certain about his availability and how long the ban was. But this game is going to be very, very difficult. Brentford are not just going to roll over. It's going to be very, very tough. Pressure's on. Obviously, people are expecting City to beat Fulham today. I have my doubts. Fulham are a very good team. Big up Harry Wilson, absolutely on fire. But regardless of that result, the pressure's on. I feel like now is one of the we come to the time of the season where we take it game by game, and I know that Arteta is doing that. I know he is. You can see how hyper focused he is on each opposition in the way that and others have mentioned it. I heard them mention it on Loose Cannons how Kai Havertz does not press the same way Martin Odegaard does. He doesn't play the 10 role the same way Martin Odegaard does. And even Eze doesn't play the 10 role the same way that Odegaard does. It's very different in the way we approach our press, depending on who's in the game in that 10 role. And you can tell that is perfect evidence that Arteta is hyper focused on our opponent. So there'll be subtle differences in the way we press Brentford, but the outcome, the desired outcome, is still the same. We want to play it back to the goalkeeper, and we want them to hit it long. Now, it's important to make sure they don't have the passing lanes, and it's important that sometimes when the only way we get played through is when teams can work it to the other side of our press. And I think the fact that, especially versus like Leeds, that was a new look. That was a new look press from Kai Havertz. And so Leeds really struggled with it, even though Leeds are very willing to hit the ball long. And so too are Brentford. So I think that it's going to be a similar tactical game to that one. And Snap said it here. This might be what we need is they're very stingy. They're going to battle really, really hard. But if we score first, they'll have to come out. And that's when we'll devastate them. I do think this game is going to be very, very difficult, but I also think tactically it lends itself to us. And that's why I'm looking at my chops. That's why I'm uber confident about this one. Because the way Brentford plays suits the way we've been gobbling up teams. It suits us very much so. And I think if we can exert our tactics early and pin them back, and they're just hitting long balls, I think this could be a very comfortable win. I think we need to start fast and score early. I think that's kind of, the earlier Arsenal score, the easier the game's going to be, because they're going to come out sooner. They're going to be, probably press higher sooner, and then we can start playing through them. If we get an early goal and they start, and maybe, who knows, maybe they'll press high from the start. If they do press high from the start, that's fine. That's very fine. Calafiore's probably fit again, so we might see him at left back. Gabriel Saliba, of course. We got to go full strength to this. Full strength, as strong a team as we can put out, because it's Wigan at the weekend, and that will be a rotation. That will be a lot of rotation in the FA Cup. Honestly, I was on Fire Them Cannons for the Arsenal Alliance. Of course, make sure you are subscribed over there at Fire Them Cannons. Anton and Cal are doing big stuff over there. Make sure you are locked in over there as well. But when I was on that pod last week, we were talking about how, it's looking like we're a little, that we should be able to go on and do this and pick this up. But it's games like this that, that might get overlooked. I thought people were overlooking the Sunderland game, and that was very tough for an hour. We have to be locked in. We have to be locked in every single game now. And I was saying over there on Fire Them Cannons that I expect realistically we can win the league, and the Carabao Cup is the realistic 2 trophies for us this season. And so the FA Cup might get sacrificed. And therefore, I want full strength here versus Brentford. And then you can rotate everybody versus Wigan. Rotate everybody. Yes, I think it's fortunate that the next game is also Molineux. So I think that in the next 2 games before the North London derby, we can definitely get some good rest and we can be full strength as best team as we can play here versus Brentford. And then we can kind of get some rest and rotate in the next 2 games because, Wigan are obviously, no disrespect to Wigan, they're obviously going to bring it. And it's Magic at the Cup, going to be a tough game, whatever. Wolves, we should smash. We could play the second team and decimate Wolves. So I think even though we have 3 games until the North London derby, in between Tottenham didn't play at all, we should still be good to go for the North London derby as far as our full strength team. But before all that, we absolutely have to lock in here for the Brentford game. They're going to be up for it. They're flying high. And the thing about Brentford flying high right now is that there's going to be no pressure. There's no pressure on them. There was this whole, Brentford are going to be horrible. Brentford may not, they might get relegated this season. That was kind of what everybody was thinking at the beginning. But they've been so good. It's the same with Manchester United. They've been so far in front of their expectations. Same with Sunderland. So far in front of their expectation that, there's no pressure. No one expects you to do what you're doing, Brentford. And so there's no pressure for them to, oh my God, you have to win this game. There's none of that is in the players' minds. They're playing with the same freedom that United are playing with, the same freedom that Sunderland are playing with, because as we know, for example, the mark in the league has been 40 points, right? Has been 40 points. That's the mark. If you get 40, you're totally always going to be fine. And in the last couple of seasons, that's been, it's been way better because there's been some really bad teams at the bottom of the table. Brentford on 39 points. Sunderland on 36 points. They're going to smash that. They're both going to smash that. So they're never even going to be close to it. So they're playing with freedom. Definitely playing with freedom. Snap says it's going to be hard for Chelsea to get top 4. Their upcoming fixtures are difficult. Yeah, the run for Liverpool is difficult. The run for Chelsea is difficult. The run for Spurs is difficult. So, even the run for Villa and City is City's run isn't that rough. But their game today is going to be tough. Everybody's saying Fulham are no mugs, man. City are going to have a game today for sure. But yeah, I think that of course, Manchester United are the only team that got an easy run of it. Of course they are. Why wouldn't it be? Thank you, football gods. No, but I definitely think that this game is massive for the Arsenal. We have to put the pressure on because there is an opportunity. There is an opportunity for us to be 9 clear by not this weekend, but the next weekend. There is an opportunity for us to be 9 points clear, and then we'll have a game. They'll have a game in hand, City will, but I prefer points on the board. I 100% prefer points on the board. So even with their game, and it's the same thing, everyone's, Arsenal bottled an 8-point lead. We blew an 8-point lead that season. Yeah, nobody wants to say that Manchester City had a game in hand for that 8-point lead that we had there. So we'll have a 9-point lead should we win. I think it's very important to establish that 9-point lead psychologically, and I think City don't play their game in hand until after the Carabao Cup final. I think I heard that correctly. So having that psychological lead going into the Carabao Cup final would be massive. Would be so massive. And so that means that we have to start that right here, right now with Brentford. And we must beat them to keep the pressure on. I think, in my opinion, the title race and all the conversation around it is not going to be dead until the Etihad, until the game on April 18th at the Etihad Stadium. And we're going to have to put them down ourselves. No, I don't necessarily think that they will have closed the gap to where they can be ahead of us if they win. That'll be devastating if that is the case, and it'll put so much pressure on that game at the Etihad. But I do think that we will have to put the nail in the coffin there. Sanjeev says Arteta is following 4 rabbits at a time. He will be finished by catching none. Yeah, we were talking about this on the Arsenal Alliance over there on Fire Them Cannons. I think the FA Cup might get sacrificed. I think he's going to go and try to rest as many people as we possibly can in the FA Cup. And while we still might have enough for Wigan, if we get Man City or Liverpool, or Chelsea, if we get a big Premier League team in the next round, or supposing we beat Wigan, of course, if we get them in the next round, I still think we'll rotate, especially if there's a big Champions League game next, or if there's a big league game next. I definitely think we'll rotate, even against the likes of Chelsea, City, Villa, whatever. So I think as far as the 4 rabbits are concerned, there are priorities. There are certainly priorities that will be followed, and I think there should be. I do agree with that. I absolutely think there should be. But as far as Brentford are concerned, I'm hopeful. I think knowing what I know about Arteta and his hyper-focus on opponents, I think we're going to see Kai Havertz in the middle of the park with Zubimendi and Declan Rice. Now, if we see Christian Norgard because Zubi or Rice need a break, which of course they do, I'll be a little bit. It'll be interesting if that happens. I don't think it will, but I won't be upset. Christian Norgard's a fantastic player, and I think the only reason he's not getting minutes is because of the players we have in front of him are phenomenal. And I think he should play a lot versus Wigan and perhaps versus Wolves as well. But yeah, I think it needs to be Zubi and Declan Rice in there. They've shown that they are the warriors in our midfield, and we're going to need them to be winning all of the second balls in this game. There's going to be a whole lot of 50-50 situations in the middle of the park. And I think if Declan Rice continues to play as he has been, we are going to be just fine, and we'll be able there is a chance where if we get it right early, we could absolutely wreck Brentford. If we get the tactics spot on and get a couple of early goals, there's a world where we absolutely destroy them. Just because of the tactics, I think suit us very, very well. And yeah, up top, I think and I want to see Victor Gyökeres, and then it should be Bossardinho, and it'll be Madueke out on the right-hand side. I thought Madueke was poor in the last game, but he is getting a run with the Saka injury. So, yeah, it is what it is out there on the right-hand side for Madueke. I think he has improved. I think his service from the corner kick has improved, but his end product still needs to – that final ball still needs a lot of work. And I need my man to stop diving. Straight up, Madueke, I need you to stop diving, brother, is what it is. But yeah, so that's my lineup. Bossardinho, Gyökeres, Madueke, Zubi, Rice, Havertz, Calafiori, Gabriel, Saliba, Timber, and of course, my main man, David Raya. Shout out David Raya, by the way. 13 clean sheets this season, and he's going for his 3rd consecutive Golden Glove. I think we'll look back on that Brighton save versus Menta as one of the moments of the season for sure for David Raya. But yeah, he's having a good season, of course. So yeah, there you have it. I think we should 100% beat Brentford. I'm thinking if we score early, it could be another 3-0. We definitely have to stay locked in, though, because it's not going to be easy. It's going to be, if we do win 3-0, it'll be like the Sunderland game. It'll be like the Leeds game, where it was very, very difficult for a good long while until we put them down. Versus Sunderland, that Gyökeres second goal kind of knocked the stuffing out of him like a gut punch. And I thought it was even up until we scored the second goal. And you know, we needed that. We needed the first goal in that game too. We were really underneath it until Zubi scored that goal. Shout out Trossard for that pass, by the way. The angle of that pass is a very simple thing, but it was fantastic, of course. And we are certainly going to need that footballing IQ again in this one. But yeah, that has been the preview. I certainly appreciate everyone being here. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Who's going to win this one? Go and smash up those likes on your way out. I certainly appreciate it. Hype it up if you got any of those left. It would be an honor and a pleasure to welcome you to the community. So please subscribe if you are new. It does help the channel. I certainly appreciate it. Of course, once again, I am very grateful for everyone being here. Make sure you got that notification bell on because we will be back after the games tonight with the panel with Nez and Asif for the Cup Chasers podcast, our main event, of course, tonight. That's going to be 6 p.m. Snap Meme says good luck. Thank you so much. That's going to be 6 p.m. Eastern on here in Eastern Standard Time for the US of A. It's going to be 11 p.m. sharp for those in the UK. And yeah, so make sure you are locked in for that. Thanks again, and you will see me next time.